going to savor this for a moment because it feels good. Going to start off by cracking open my Topo Chico because I won't be drinking much of this as Campeones Cup approaches. Hope y'all are feeling as good as I'm about to feel in T-minus 3, 2, 1. Hello, Los Angeles. Hello, lovers of Major League Soccer. Hello, fans of the beautiful game. And hello to the millions
and millions
of Defenders of the Bank listeners. This is episode 275 of our little worldwide pod, aired in over 104 countries and in Carson. This is the podcast giving you the breakdown of the beatdown of our bitter and ugly arch rivals. And some of y'all down there are just downright fugly. But first, before we get into that, the introductions are in order. My name is Christian Philly Philemon, and I'm your happy and jovial platinum highlighted haired flamingo. And I'm sitting in my little piece of paradise, world famous Philomonster Studios in Burbank, California. And joining me after spending the last 13 hours with me and coming to you from what he likes to call the semi-famous scarf wall, the mouth of the South Bay, the king of knits, L.A., oh, the king of knits. I'm going to say LA. That was an idiot. I wrote my own little script out. Mother trucking Bufanda himself. The teleprompter, Philly. J.R. Liebert.
A scarf. That's right. Philly will read anything you put on the teleprompter. It has been proven over and over again. Philly, I got good news for you, my friend. Breaking news. We have now been listened to in Czechia. That
Say
makes
what now?
Czechia.
All right. Is that 105?
And 5 countries for Defenders of the Bank. That's right. The worldwide LAFC podcast, 105 countries later, 275 episodes later, and a big W over Carson later. Philly, I think it's safe to say, my friend, we are feeling good.
Feeling good indeed. This one in particular feels good because it's against your rival. Now, I know people have commented on our little YouTube post saying, oh, this game doesn't really matter, or it's just 3 points, but a big 3 points.
Hogwash.
I think this is massive because honestly, any rival game is big regardless of where you are in the standings, what you're competing for. Duke, North Carolina for basketball, always huge, one way or another, regardless of who's good. Michigan, Ohio State for college football. We want to talk about the beautiful game. You're going to tell me that Barca and Real Madrid, those games don't. I mean, every single derby match matters. And it feels even better and so much more satisfying when you whoop on your rivals. Look, I was nervous. I'm sure you were too. I'm sure the millions were feeling a little bit of, butterflies in your tummy, if you will, because we have not been playing good. They've been playing a lot better. But man, satisfaction, baby. We got it today, and what a convincing victory. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, look, I want to address something that I said several months ago. Hi, Scarf here. I would like to take a moment to let you all know I was wrong. That's right. Wrong, I tell you. U.S. Open Cup, you can go back and hear me on several different episodes say on record, yeah, roll the kids out there again. It's the Open Cup. It doesn't matter. We have other things to play for, and we did so against Carson. We lost against Carson, and they got a lot of bulletin board and billboard material from that with Ricky Pooch carving up a bunch of teenagers. You know what? I channeled that feeling. I channeled that being wrong several months ago into all of the feels that I had going into this match, and you're right. I was a little nervous, but I did predict a 3-1 or a 2-goal victory. We did win by 2 goals. I did predict that Denny Bouanga at the end of this match would be leading the Golden Boot race, and shebang, he is. Moreover, this is the turning point of our season right here. We have massive matches coming down the pipe. First place, St. Louis. Philadelphia at Philadelphia. Tigres in the final of the Campeones Cup. We have work to do. And we'll talk about all that at the end with scheduling with the scarf when we talk about this being the first of 7 matches in 22 days. But this is how you start a 7-match in 22-day streak. 3 points against our only rival. I don't care how y'all feel about Seattle, Portland, Philadelphia, Leon, whoever it might be. All the other matches pale in comparison to the 13-mile trek down the freeway against Carson. This was massive. But Philly first, shall we pay some bills real quick?
I'm wearing it on my shirt if you're watching.
That's right. Flex and flexpowertools.com. Want to give a quick shout out to Brady, who we got to see at the match. And of course, everybody in the Flex family, if you need anything in the way of power tools, you have to head on over to flexpowertools.com. And we want to remind the millions
and millions.
Any tool you buy in 2023.
Hagrid said it too, by the way.
Comes with a full lifetime warranty. Everything but the box is covered. Come on, people. Say it with me. You've heard me say it enough now. You're probably sick of me saying it. Everything but the box. Full lifetime warranty. Something happens, Flex will take care of you. FlexPowerTools.com. Philly, I want to remind everybody that the Mofacio Futsal Court in Southeast LA fundraising effort is underway. LAFC and the LAFC Foundation are partnering with the 3252 and the Mofacio Futsal Court Foundation to build that futsal court in Southeast LA in Mo's honor. The link to donate is in our bio. And Philly, I am putting up a huge number for donation today. If anybody does this, I will send you, because we have them on order. They should be here in about a week or two. I will send you our new Defenders of the Bank scarf. They have been paid for. They are on order. They are coming from Roughneck. If you donate $315 for the 315 days that Maxim Crepeau went from breaking his leg to starting today, $350, just send me a copy, a little screenshot of the donation. You will get Defenders of the Bank scarf. I mean, it's worth it. Let me tell you, that's a $315 scarf right there. But that's my number, Philly. Top that today. Ha!
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to top 315. I felt like I was kind of lowballing it, but I brought out the following number for a reason.
I like
number 14. Yes, that's right. 14.
Mark Anthony King.
Significantly less than 315. But the reason why I bring that out is because something that Atlanta's Giacomakis, Nashville's Hani Mukhtar, and LAFC's Denis Bouanga have in common, and that's 14 goals apiece for the lead, tied for the lead in the Golden Boot race. Defenders, we've had 2 Golden Boot winners in Major League Soccer in the very short history of our franchise. Carlos Vela, 2019. Diego Rossi, 2020. And fingers crossed, we may be looking at our 3rd because he had a heck of a game. So 14 for Denis Bouanga's goals this MLS regular season.
I absolutely love it. 14 in honor of Mark Anthony K's jersey number. Great reason. I think that's wonderful. Well done. Look, we want to remind everybody that the Kick Childhood Cancer campaign is still going on here in Major League Soccer. You guys can see that scarf right there behind me. Kick Childhood, and also that one. There it is, right there. Got 2 of them. Head on over to donatekcc.com to make a donation to MLS's Kick Childhood Cancer Initiative. All the funds go to the Children's Oncology Group Foundation. So don't forget, Kick Childhood Cancer campaign going on. And we have to give a shout out, Philly. You and I partook in some wonderful tri-tip sandwiches today at the tailgate. We got to give a big shout out to Bros Cookout. You know who you are. Amazing tri-tip sandwiches. Jalapeno mac and cheese, jalapeno business. And the men behind the grill might be some of the handsomest men on Christmas Tree Lane. It does not get better than Bros Cookout. Bros Cookout, we love you. We love you. To me, best steak sandwich I've had in quite a long time. Your thoughts on the steak sandwich, Philly?
The steak sandwich, now that you think about it, my mouth is watering. It's 1:14 in the morning, Sunday, and just the idea of having that tri-tip sandwich again makes my mouth happy. Ew, but still very happy. Just saying mouth happy.
Was it
Anyway,
Twizzlers? Wasn't that their Twizzlers slogan? Right? Makes mouths happy. I think it was.
I don't know.
I think it was.
I don't recall that commercial. But either way, and the mac and cheese, you bring that up. That's a good point. Like I don't generally like mac and cheese created by anybody other than Velveeta shells and cheese. I think me personally, it's so disgusting and chemically altered. But my mac and cheese, very rarely does it ever get better for me personally than that Velveeta shells and cheese. I love it. It's part of my Thanksgiving staple. It's the ish as far as I'm concerned. But that jalapeno mac and cheese, along with that tri-tip sandwich, certainly hit the spot. Bros Cookout. Looking forward to another opportunity to try some of that stuff. And we don't really have that many more opportunities because the number of tailgates that we have left, very minimal. I think we only have like one or so left because our next game essentially is Campeones Cup at BMO, but that's midweek. So we're not going to have a Bros Cookout then. I'd have to double check the calendar. I think RSL is the next regular season home game, but I forget what day of the week that is. Anyway, Bros Cookout, tri-tip, jalapeno mac and cheese. Mwah. Geschmeckt mir gut.
Love you guys. Absolutely. We are going to forego this day in LAFC history because we've got some news and notes that we want to get to, including we do just a couple. EA Sports FC 24. That's EA Sports' way. Yeah, right. It's in the game. That's their way of sticking it to FIFA for wanting all kinds of money. So EA Sports just went out and decided, you know what? We will we'll go ahead and just make our own game and we'll get these licenses on our own. Thanks so much. They came out with the ratings for all the MLS players. No surprise who the top 3 rated players are in the game, Philly. That would be Lionel Messi, Sergio Busquets, and Jordi Alba. Those are the number 1, 2, and 3. I believe 4th. Oh, I'm trying to remember who 4th is, and now I don't remember. It might be Hani Mukhtar, but I don't think that's right. I don't know. But tied for 5th with 80 points in their rating. That would be the ageless one, Giorgio Chiellini, and El Rey himself, Carlos Vela, the top rated players in FIFA's MLS section. They're in at number 5 on 80 points. So yay. We're going to have to try that one out, Philly. It's there's no FIFA coming out this year. FIFA's not going to exist. EA Sports FC 24 will be the name of the game. I believe, shocker, Lionel Messi is on the cover. Philly, we got to hear the new Ciudad de Campeones, the anthem featuring Alemán Be Real, Bobby Castro, and DJ Flick, friend of the pod. LAFC is billing it as the first Mexican corrido-inspired anthem in U.S. sports. And I got to say, it is an absolute banger. We've had DJ Flick on the pod. Be Real, we would love you to come on the pod. And we couldn't get enough of DJ Flick. Such a great dude, such a talented producer and DJ. And this right up there with everything else that he has done, an absolute banger.
DJ Flick did tell me one time up in Sunset that the gents from Cypress Hill do listen to Defenders of the Bank. So if y'all get a chance to hear this, yes, we would absolutely love to have you on the pod talking about your journey within the beautiful game of football and obviously killing it with those tracks. Bobby Castro did a phenomenal job. I love the sound of his guitar on there. It was great. And everybody's like verses and whatnot was, they were fantastic. I really enjoyed the tune thoroughly. And we certainly have a lot of great music coming out of this community. Of course, it all starts with our good friend Styx. We got to mention him, give a shout out because I know Flick has taken over the game. And as has Be Real in this little world. But got to give a shout out to Styx because all this stems back to him. So much love for all the musicians in that LAFC community. And another banger of a hit. Cuidad de Campeones. Hell yeah. We are the city of champions.
You are absolutely right. And again, if you guys are listening out there, Cypress Hill, Be Real, everybody else in the group, we would love to have you on the
We'd be insane in the membrane if y'all wanted to join us.
I see what you did.
I
like it. Look, let's check in real quick with Angel City. They play in, what time is it now, Philly? 1:19. They play in about 13 hours or so, I think, in Chicago. They are
14, 3 p.m.
14. You're right. They're 2 points out of a playoff spot right now, but they are coming. They have still yet to lose in the Becky Tweed era. Chicago Red Stars, look out. ACFC is a coming. A team that finally figured things out towards the end of the season. We are so incredibly proud of our boys at LAFC 2.
Yep.
A massive 4-0 win in their final home game of 2023 over Timbers 2. Leonardo Flores, you guys saw him as the signing a little bit earlier in the year. A hat trick in the win, including 2 PKs. He went left with one. He went right with the other. And our boy Abraham Romero with a clean sheet. Congrats to an amazing win. We play one more match. Unfortunately, neither of us are going to be able to go up in PayPal Park on September 24th to close out the maiden voyage of all things LAFC 2. We wish them all the best. And shout out to Mario. Congratulations, my friend. That was a sweet jersey and well deserved for everything that you do, Mario. We love you, buddy. Philly, shall we? Shall we get into the breakdown of the beatdown at BMO against Carson? Let's go.
Yep, let's get into it. So let's just to set the table again as a reminder in the event that you didn't get the opportunity to listen to one more sleep. LAFC has not been playing very well up until this game. I believe we had dropped 11 out of the last 21, whereas the boys from down the 110, they've been playing some stellar football. 5 wins, 6 draws over their last several matches, playing very well. But despite all that, still sitting in 13th place, which is the same exact position on the table that they were in when we last saw them at the Rose Bowl. Now that gap in between 13th place and the playoff line is starting to narrow. And despite their loss today, spoiler alert, yes, Carson did lose today. They're still very much in the race with a slightly different looking team and a team that is a lot better than the team we faced early on in the season. During the signing sessions, and by the way, the MLS rosters are now officially frozen. No more additions, yada, yada, yada. That's not happening. Carson had to add a few players, and hey, big shout out to their technical staff and Will Kuntz, so on and so forth. They bring in Michael Barrios, a very big pain in our rear from the Colorado Rapids. They bring in Diego Fagundes from Austin, another pain in our rear. They bring in Billy Sharp, 37 years old from Sheffield United. The guy's scored a couple of times already. You have Yoshida, who had an impact on this game, captain of the Japanese national team that beat Germany in the last World Cup. I still have a bone to pick with that guy. Then Edwin Cerrillo and Tony Alfaro, guys who are very much inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. Now, as I mentioned, the Galaxy, much better run of form. They had a match against St. Louis in which they came back after being down 2-0 at home to tie the game. So coming into this match, Scarf, I would say they were the better team from that perspective, but we've been doing much better against them at home, and there's the table. LAFC taking on Carson at home.
Yeah, how about no Gaston Brugman, no Jalen Neal, no Martin Caceres, no Chicharito, no Lucas Caligari. That was their latest injury that they have had to deal with. We're talking about a club in turmoil, though, in Carson. Will Kuntz is doing Will Kuntz things down there in Carson. You mentioned it. The guys that they brought in were with the limited abilities that they had to bring guys in, Philly. We know that there were restrictions and there were all kinds of stuff going on down there in Carson. Who they brought in, the talent level they brought in, they really did a wonderful job. However, all those names that I just mentioned that are out, those are massive talents. There are massive talents on the bench. I don't understand in this match why you don't start guys like Julian Aude and Dejan Joveljic. There's something rotten in the state of Denmark down there, though. Joveljic now went from being extremely happy and getting lots of playing time to not as happy anymore. They're talking about the end of the Chicharito era possibly coming after this. There's a lot going on down in Carson.
That era ended when he joined the Galaxy, FYI.
Right, yeah, you're not wrong there. And then if you look at today's lineup, Philly, for Carson, some names that they definitely did not want to have to plug and play. We're talking about Mauricio Cuevas, the youth international, plays on the U.S. under-20 team, but not a guy that they wanted to have start. Chris Mavinga rescued off the scrap heap, who's somehow still starting for Carson. Not sure how that works. The snake himself, Raheem Edwards. I mean, yeah, you want to talk about really having to cobble together a lineup. Yuri Rosell, these guys, this is not the 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago Carson teams that had a solid lineup up and down. Look, their bench isn't terrible. They brought in Diego Fagundes, who I really, really like still, even though he wears the Herbalife sash. I think he's a good kid, and he's been in MLS since he was like 14. Like, a dude is absolutely ridiculous. But that being said, man, did it feel good to put a beat down on Carson. Look, I don't know how you feel about USC, UCLA, college football, anything else, but when your honorary Falconer is the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, shout out to Caleb Williams. He had a lot of fun with Ollie, too. He was really comfortable with Ollie on his arm there. That was pretty sweet seeing Caleb Williams down there, man. And, dude, Philly, he's so much fun to watch. That was really cool to have the Heisman winner as our honorary Falconer today.
You talk about Caleb Williams being really comfortable with Ollie. Ollie was pretty darn comfortable with Caleb Williams, because as Ollie was about to take off, Ollie relieved herself a little bit, to say the least. And she was certainly flying high above BMO Stadium today. She's just getting feistier and feistier. And I think her flight took a little bit longer than production would have liked, because they started turning off the lights and getting into the game without Ollie being able to take out the lure. So Ollie's getting very, very rough these days, but it's certainly fun to see her doing her thing. It's part of our game day ritual. I mean, we have a scarf designed after, in honor of her. We have shirts that say Ollie. I mean, Ken and the Falcon and Ollie and all the other Falcons that him and his son have. That's part of it. It isn't an LAFC game without Ollie.
Yeah, and I think Bond is a Harris's Hawk too, right? But you can't bring out Bond today, unfortunately, not with Jonathan between the pipes. Speaking of which, let's get into lineups. Jonathan Bond between the pipes for Carson. The back line of Mauricio Cuevas, Maya Yoshida, Chris Mavinga, and the snake himself, Raheem Edwards. In the midfield, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Delgado out there in the midfield, along with Uri Rosell and Ricky Pooch. Tyler Boyd, Billy Sharp, and Diego Fagundes. It's not a terrible lineup, but man, it definitely doesn't strike fear in the hearts of anybody wearing black and gold. In the 18, the 5 guys you want to know: Michael Barrios, Dejan Joveljic, Daniel Aguirre, Julian Alde, and Kevin Leardom. Really good of me to pick Douglas Costa then for my player to watch, because I did not mention him whatsoever. Apparently picked up a knock and
hamstring,
was unavailable to play. Solid effort on my part there, picking Douglas Costa. Philly, a massive addition between the pipes for LAFC. And if we had it queued up on our board, it's Return of the Max. I was so happy to see Maxim Crepeau back in the building.
315 days ago, Maxim Crepeau gave up his body to stop Philadelphia Union's Corey Burke from scoring a wide open one-on-one goal in the MLS Cup final. Max literally left it all out there. He broke his leg and fought these last 10 or so months to get back into the lineup. It was a very awesome thing to see, and what a professional. Ryan Holling said during the press conference, said that Crepeau was his favorite teammate of all time. Very humble, very professional, and he fought and worked really hard to get back to this spot. Playing with LAFC 2, playing with 17-year-olds, doing his thing, training, being a mentor to John McCarthy, who, by the way, has been playing phenomenally. This guy's earned his keep, without a doubt, a starter in this league, and we'll see going forward whether he remains a starter for our team. But seeing number 16 back there, it's a beautiful thing, and I just want to remind everybody like how he gave up his body to the club, because it seems like it was that long ago. It wasn't. 315 days is nothing. Welcome back, number 16. Love it, baby. As far as our back line is concerned, our team, and I thought this was an error by FOTMob, because usually FOTMob reports starting lineups a lot quicker than Major League Soccer does. So FOTMob had LAFC lining up in a 4-4-1-1, and I thought, they've been known to kind of mess with me, but then MLS reported it, and that's what happened. It was a 4-4-1-1 to start things off. So we have Ryan Hollingshead, Giorgio Chiellini, and much to my surprise in scarves, Aaron Long, because we really thought Jesus David Murillo would be in there. And, of course, Chiqui Palacios. Then, moving a little forward, you got Kellen Acosta, Ilie Sanchez, Christian Kike Oliveira, and Matsi Bogush. And then you got Carlitos himself, El Rey, the man who is number 4 in terms of the all-time leading scores to score against the Galaxy. He's only behind 3 players, Scarf. Preki, Jeff Cunningham, and Jason Kreis. Carlos had 12 goals going into this matchup. I really thought he was going to bang out number 13. He still contributed. But somebody who did bang out a couple of goals for LAFC and is now tied for the Golden Boot lead, Denis Bouanga. As far as the bench players that are worth mentioning, we're going to talk about Sergi Palencia, Timothy Tillman, El Pistolero himself, Mario Gonzalez, Stipe Buke, and Jesus David Murillo. J-Mac was there as well. So was Fufu Krastev and Nathan Ordaz. That is your lineup and Scarf. One big thing we didn't mention, and we're going to talk about him in this game. The minute I saw Chris Penso on the officiating list, I had to do one of those palm in my face in my palm kind of deals, bro. Anytime you see him or Uncle, it gives me anxiety because I know we're going to have a game in which, oh my gosh, the officials are going to look to make a contribution. And Chris Penso, I have to say, one of the worst officials in Major League Soccer. Pro, the organization that runs these officials, in my opinion, pretty rancid officiating is the acronym. Chris Penso is your poster child for not mediocrity, for just horse poop.
Yeah, Philly, they call that a face palm. The young kids call that a face palm is what you.
What did I call it?
You just said, the palm in the face or face in the palm thing.
That was close. It was close.
You were trying. Look, let's be very, very clear. Chris Penso is awful. I would like to petition Major League Soccer to replace Chris Penso with his wife. His wife is Tori Penso, and Tori Penso refereed the Women's World Cup final this year. That's how good of a referee Tori Penso is. Now, the problem with Tori Penso is she's probably too good to be a pro referee. So they got her doing the Women's World Cup final while her husband is slumming it down here in Major League Soccer. But look, can we just swap? Just let, Chris, just sit this one out. Let your wife tag in. He was awful today. Really appreciate you there, Chris. Lots of fun things to talk about when it comes to Chris Penso for sure. By the way, MLSsoccer.com switched the lineup to a 4-3-3, just in case if you were curious.
Oh,
Billy.
did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
The tifo before the match. To live and die in LA, the incredible tifo. I got to say, it was one of my favorite. To me, we have the best tifos in all the league. And to me, the 3252 are just the hardest working supporters group in Major League Soccer. I don't know that they're going to ever do the give everybody a card to hold up thing again after the amount of paper airplanes. Although I will say I was shocked at how few, as soon as the final whistle blew, wound up being thrown out onto the pitch. I was expecting a whole lot more. There maybe 100 throughout the game and after the game. But I was expecting it to be, what was it, the Yankees, right? When they gave away baseballs that one day and they threw them all out onto the pitch and they had to postpone the match. I thought for sure someone's going to lose an eye or an ear in front of those paper airplanes. Not their greatest moment, but hey, maybe that's the kind of sponsorship dollars that Pepsi wanted to throw out at everything.
No doubt. The tifo was dynamite, and unlike our rivals, we don't rip our tifos as we're raising them. And of course, I'm talking about how the supporters for the Galaxy ripped their tifo in Pasadena. What was funny about that is we had such a good view of that happening from the press box. That one piece that kept tearing apart, the people that were involved had no idea as that one piece on the upper right was going further and further away from the tifo. You want to talk about lack of organization? And honestly, lack of like skill. I mean, their tifos have been god awful since we entered the league. I don't remember a time when I saw a legitimately good looking tifo by that club. But yeah, we certainly held the standard up high, and another amazing tifo by the 3252 Scarf.
Yeah.
It was a jovial atmosphere and a nerve-wracking one in BMO Stadium. It looked like Carson brought more supporters this time around than they did in previous matches. And we do know that they've been suffering a little bit on the attendance front. They had about 19,000 or so at that game against St. Louis. And when you go into the comments and you hear things like, oh, well, it was the start of the NFL and it was too hot, that speaks volumes as to the mindset of that fan base, FYI. At least the mindset of it right now as they're sitting in the cellar in 13th place.
Look, I got to let the millions.
And millions caught me mid-Topo Chico. Thank you very much.
Exactly why I chose to use that phrase just there. I got to let you guys into my mind. All right. So you guys know, this is Scarf here. I'm a middle school teacher, right? And my middle school teaching has spanned quite the array of different things that make my middle schoolers give a response. What I mean by that is anytime, maybe about 10 years ago or so, I would at any point use the phrase, oh yeah, everything is going in one direction. And then I would say One Direction, like everyone would kind of freak out because of the band One Direction, right? Well, Philly, you have to understand, I have a lot of kids that watch a lot of anime and manga and that, like the whole genre of everything, right? And there was just a convention in downtown LA at the convention center not too long ago. One of the things that now triggers my middle schoolers is something that you just said while we were talking about the TIFO. There's a big anime, and I'm going to get ripped if this is a manga instead of an anime, and I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm not that cool. I teach it. I'm not the kids who are actually listening to it or watching it, but One Piece is a big one, and every time I say One Piece, like 4 or 5 of my kids get all like, oh, I'm One Piece. And so when you said that One Piece that was traveling up, I'm just letting you guys inside my head. There's a lot going on all at once, and it's 1:36 in the morning. I apologize. That was a tangent. 7 minutes in, we get a yellow card on Ilie Sanchez, and I was already feeling a little verklempt. And all of a sudden, here we go, 7 minutes in, and it's Ilie for like a grab and turn on Pooch. But like, what did I miss there, Philly? Was it last man? Was it like, I don't understand why that's a yellow card that early? Maybe first foul of the match on Ilie Sanchez too. We start out with our most important midfielder on a yellow who has to play the next 83. Hey, that's my number. Minutes on a yellow.
Yeah, it's not a fun way to start the match because now Ilie can't go out and play as aggressively. And somebody who also couldn't go out and play as aggressively would have been Cheeky Palacios. Going into this match, I think he was, one warning away from being suspended. So he got himself a yellow card anyway in this match, which means we're not going to have him against St. Louis. Way to go, Cheeky. And honestly, he's lucky that he didn't get a red. This hot-headedness of Cheeky Palacios needs to stop because it completely takes away from his game and takes away from our team's success. When he gets in his head, it costs us, and cost us it did. There was a tale to be told, though, about Ilie on Pooch. Look, Pooch has been incinerating our midfield, not just ours, all the midfields and back lines of Major League Soccer.
Yeah.
Today, he was completely non-existent. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that our boys in the midfield played particularly well. Matsi Bogusz, there was a couple instances when he absolutely stripped Pooch of the ball. There was also a really awesome scenario when Carlos Vela completely pushed Pooch to the ground, which I loved. Unfortunately, Carlos got hit with the foul. 11th minute, nice pass into the box from Danilo Oliveira. Raheem makes a tackle, but Penso is convinced that there's no foul. That's when I would have to go back to and watch on the replay. Our vantage point in Founders, I don't know if I missed it, but there was no question to him, no look at VAR, none of that. And I really, really, really can't believe that Raheem Edwards did anything right because he was absolute crap for our club, and he's just not a good player in Major League Soccer. I just don't think he's a good player at all. So there's no way in my head, and I could be wrong, that he got away with a clean tackle.
Listen, Raheem Edwards is a starter on the 13th best team in the Western Conference, sir. He's got to be he's terrible. Screw him. 13th minute, you're talking about it, though. Cheeky Palacios. And look, we do want to mention something. Cheeky is going through a lot right now. Cheeky's got a lot of stuff happening off the pitch that's got to be affecting him mentally, right? But we got to get some sort of team leader. I don't know if it's Kellen, maybe it's Giorgio, maybe it's Maxim. Someone's got to pull him aside and let him know that the demonstrative nature in which he does it. Look, I liken him a lot to Luka Doncic in the NBA. Luka continually top 2 or 3 or 4 in the league in technical fouls, and so many of them are because he is just a demonstrative, whiny dude sometimes. LeBron does this all the time and doesn't get nearly as many technical fouls as a guy like Luka does because, I guess the crown affords you certain liberties. But I'll say this, man, Cheeky is getting a little bit of a reputation. There is a gremlin on the screen right now. Is that Harold?
Hagrid.
Oh, hi, Hagrid. What's happening? There's just too much of it going on. And Philly, you touched on it earlier. Unfortunately, this massive match against St. Louis will see Sergei Palencia starting on the back line because with this yellow card in the 13th minute, Cheeky Palacios now has to sit out the next match as this is his 6th, I believe, right? Is how it works. You sit out after your 6th. 6th yellow card of the season, yellow card accumulation. He will sit.
Yep. And that's obviously going to cost us. And yeah, good. I'm glad. Good on you that you brought that up. For some reason, it slipped my mind that he was going through some personal stuff. So yes, that's going to have an impact. There are some things, believe it or not, that are more important than football. And I know he had some stuff going off the field that was plaguing him. So yeah, thank you for mind of that. 19th minute, Matzi with a great pass to Denis. But Denis, who are you passing it to in that sequence, brother? I mean, I have to shout out former New York Jets quarterback Sam Darnold. Is he seeing ghosts? I had no idea who Denis passed the ball to. There was nobody making any run, nothing going on. That was a cause for concern to a certain extent. We ended up having another shot a couple of minutes later. Nice build-up from the midfield. Good ball movement from Ryan and Matzi. Kellen takes a shot, sails off, and nothing on target there. But I would say our back line was looking good up until this point. But hey, you know what? 24 minute, we strike. Let's go, baby.
Stupidest 2 minutes in the entire game. I went from so happy to so pissed so quickly. I was so upset. But look, the reason why it's such a big loss, Philly, with that yellow card that Cheeky Palacios picked up is because he is such a threat everywhere on the pitch. We're talking the entire distance, whether it's offense that you need or whether it's 1v1 defending. Cheeky Palacios is as good as it gets. And in the 24th minute, it's Cheeky who finds Denis Bouanga for the goal. I said it at the start. I said it during One More Sleep. After this match, Denis Bouanga would be leading the Golden Boot race. I guess tied for first still counts, right? As leading it.
Yeah.
So
if you go to MLS's page and you look up stats, it's his face on top.
Yeah, look, it's I think he's done it in fewer games than the other two guys have, which is why he's over there at number 1. Massive. We're in the middle of celebrating. We're turning around. We're screaming at each other. We're being idiots like we always do. And then all of a sudden we turn back around and Billy Sharp says, hold my, let's see, where is he from? Sheffield United.
Sheffield United, my friend.
Hold my harp. Harp? Maybe Smittix? I don't know. What are we holding? Whatever we're holding.
Hold his lager.
Billy Sharp said hold it because that didn't take long for the answer. I mean, I don't actually even think it was 60 seconds.
No, I mean, we got caught ball watching in the moment where we were jovial. And this was just wild to me. I'm still entering in my notes. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they came out and equalized. Yeah, they caught us snoozing. It was soft, but we got hurt. And it was a great play. And look, Billy Sharp, he might be 37 years of age, but Billy Sharp has played some football. I mean, he spent a very long time at Sheffield United. He's played in 282 games, had 109 goals there. Spent some time at Leeds, Doncaster Rovers, Reading, Nottingham Forest, Southampton, Doncaster Rovers, Scunthorpe United. Going through his list, I have many of these jerseys and kits, by the way, thanks to our good friends at Away Days. $30 per month for a 3-month thing. You dictate exactly how many, what kind of kit you want. I always wanted the lower tiered English teams. And yeah, I have a Scunthorpe United kit. I have a Doncaster Rovers kit. They're no longer a small tier. Obviously, Nottingham Forest, they've had some success in Europe. But these are the clubs that Billy Sharp has played on. So at 37 years of age, doing things that, well, you and I could never. And only in his fourth game, he's already got a second goal as a member of the LA Tragedy.
Philly, 4 touches off the kickoff. 4 touches off the kickoff for the goal, and they put it in the back of the net. And I was shocked because I rewatched the play several times. Aaron Long, Giorgio Chiellini. We have an incredibly experienced back line, and I expected better. And by the way, see, look, I don't always just say positive things about Giorgio Chiellini. This was extremely frustrating to watch because, like Steve Cherundolo said at the press conference, it was the first time in his memory that a team had come back and scored like this on LAFC under his watch. And look, I don't know if it's wind sprints or like lunges across the pitch or whatever it might be, but that entire back line, midfield, you name it, everyone should have to go write their name on the board a couple of times or standards or whatever it is that you have to do, because that was completely unacceptable. Just like Steve said, that was a soft goal. It was a lapse in judgment and so incredibly frustrating. So after 25 minutes, we are locked back at 1. But a guy who will be the all-time leadingest scoring defender since he has come into the league gets yet another off of the foot of Carlos Vela. And again, I think, Philly, correct me if I'm wrong, does that give him 10 assists in all competitions for Carlos Vela now? So 14 goals, 10 assists. Is that right? I mean,
yep, I've got a whole breakdown of all of that in terms of like where he ranks in terms of his place with the number of goals and assists. But yeah, Carlos had an assist, but it wasn't intended to go to Ryan initially.
and I didn't know this, by the way. I asked him about the goal, right? And so we were in the press conference. If you have a chance to listen to the press conference, I'm the one that asked him about it. Like, hey, how do you feel when everything opens up like that and you find the ball right in the middle? And he admitted to poaching a pass that might have been intended for Denis Bouanga. Yeah. He said it went off my foot, kind of fell. It went off the back of my leg or whatever and fell at my foot. So I had to take it and do the right thing. It looked like that was the intended pass from our view in Founders Club, Philly. I don't know how you felt.
No, it was just too abrupt. And the way he hit it, it just bounced off his foot hard and directly in front of him. That pass had too much mustard from Carlos. And Ryan admitted it. That ball was intended to go to Denny. And I thought that he addressed it. And that was going to be the one question I would have asked in the presser. But hey, regardless, what he did say is it dropped in front of him. He made his move and he took a shot well before Bond was able to plant his feet. So as a result of that, he puts us up 2-1 and he scored what? I think it's like third straight game or something like that where he scored at home. I forget that exact statistic. I have it written down towards the end.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, he's coming up and he's obviously he's going to be one of the best scoring defenders in the history of this league.
Yeah.
Watch out, Graham Susie.
Yeah, this is a guy who, by the way, played striker at UCLA, so the dude knows what he is doing. Did MLS, by the way, can I ask a question to all of you out there? Philly, you may know the answer, but just in case you don't, I want to ask any of the millions.
And millions.
Did MLS do away with the secondary assist? Because MLS used to give the secondary assist. And
they still did.
On this goal, you see it somewhere?
If you go to MLS, even if you go to the app itself and you look in the I can tell you in the 23rd minute, Denny's goal, I mean, you get these Cheeky and Carlos got the credit for it. And then if you go later on,
I see it. You're right. I see it in the stats. It wasn't listed on the feed. I just wanted to make sure my boy Giorgio got his assist because it was Giorgio who got that ball to the foot of Carlos Vela. And Carlos Vela, of course, and I did, by the way, while we were talking just now, I rewatched it. That ball was absolutely not intended for Ryan Hollingshead. Holy crap. He got pretty lucky on that one for sure.
Your boy Giorgio would get an assist, though, if you look at later on, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Wait, so he all right, now I got to go back and look. Anyway, screw it. I don't know.
Halftime.
Giorgio, right? Giorgio passed to Vela to Hollingshead. Life is good. We're back up 2-1. And, yeah, halftime, 2-1. We're all happy. Things are good. Galaxy got a yellow right before the half. I'm feeling even better about things because Chris Penso realized there was another team playing that he could penalize. Philly, how'd we look at the half with the numbers?
Not as many shots as one would think, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. We took 6 shots within. Ooh, and now my computer's starting to crash.
Okay.
There we go. Hang on. 6 shots, blah, blah, blah. 5 of them on target. All right, not bad. 6 shots, 5 of them on target. I can tell you this. Bond was doing his thing. Bond actually played a relatively good game.
Yeah.
And somebody who was going to have him in his nightmares would be Kike Oliveira, because Christian Oliveira had a couple of good-looking opportunities, and Jonathan Bond got his paws on it. Galaxy only had 2 shots, 1 on target and 1 goal. Frustrating. And they certainly had more possession than we did, and they passed the ball more. Their accuracy was better. They had 50 or so passes more than we did going into the locker room. If you look at the XGs, and I pulled this off of FOTMob, very, very even. 0.49 XG for LAFC, 0.46 for the Galaxy. So pretty even on that front. And that's the story there. 3 yellow cards between the 2 teams, 2 on LAFC. Thankfully, Penso decided to, wipe the smudge off the Galaxy jersey he was wearing underneath his yellow kit and give out a yellow to them. Tweety Bird's flying in the air. We go into the second half.
What did he wipe off? Wipe off the what on the Galaxy?
He was wearing a Galaxy kit underneath his
right. What was it? Smudge? Is that what
Smuts?
Smudge. Okay. All right. Words with Philly. I like it. Look, we start the second half. Look, we're up 2-1, but it didn't feel good yet. It's
Scarf. I don't mean to interrupt you, and I never would do this. I'm doing this rotation thing, but we never talked about what that would mean. I will give you the mic and the floor because the Topo Chico is running through me, and I'm going to die if I don't go. I'll be back.
Okay. Bye, Philly. All right. So he just told me I'm giving you a sign, but we haven't talked about it yet. How was I supposed to know what in the heck was going on? That was pretty funny. 51st minute, Ryan Hollingshead to Kike Oliveira. And look, everybody out there, if you got a chance to watch Kike Oliveira today, Kike Oliveira looked great. He was so much fun to watch, had all that wiggle, all that sizzle, and a little bit of the stake this time too. Look, he's young. He's making a couple of errors that I don't think we would want him to make, but he is really putting the pressure on the defense. More on Kike Oliveira in just a little bit. In the 54th minute, Mati Bogusz to Carlos Vela, and a great pass, but the buildup was all for naught as Carlos Vela heads it over the bar. And just a minute later, if you want to go back and watch the 55th, that's exactly what we're talking about with Kike Oliveira trying to do a little bit too much. In the 58th minute, I got to say, I got very frustrated with Cheeky Palacios because you're about to hear a goal for Carson that levels the match at 2. And I know there were things that happened after the play that I am talking about, but I got so upset, Philly, in the 58th minute at Cheeky Palacios because all Cheeky needed to do, instead of trying to be cute and take it into the corner first and clear it off the player, all he had to do was just fire it down the line, clear the line, live to fight another day, reorganize your back line. But instead of that, he gives up a corner. Not a lot happens on the corner because Kike Oliveira clears the ball. Giorgio helps out, but we couldn't clear the line completely. And that's when the nemesis that you had coming into the match, the player that you said you liked least, and I would love for you to expound on that in just a minute. Oh, and by the way, after Philly expounds on why he doesn't like Yoshida and explains what happened there for the goal, I'm going to make Philly tell you why his least favorite soccer commentator might be becoming one of his favorite soccer commentators here in just a minute. But Philly, walk us through. I'm going to make you relive the goal from Maya Yoshida.
I just want to go on record and say the reason why I don't like Yoshida, it just stems from the World Cup. Look, I've said this time and time before. Like, I support the German national team. I spent 4 years of my life living in Frankfurt, 8th grade and all of high school, formidable years. My father's side of the family, they lived in between Augsburg and Munich. So obviously now you've seen my face plenty with Bayern Munich. So there are a lot of ties there. So any time or any team that whoops up on Germany, bothers me. And Japan beat Germany in the World Cup on a very controversial play, by the way, where you had to really utilize VAR. But depending on the angle that you would look in, well, goal was either allowed or denied, and VAR won the day. And Yoshida, the only reason I don't like him is simply because he captained that Japanese side. That's it. No other reason. Other than that, he's a fine player, played in the Bundesliga, whatever.
And by the way, Philly does talk about how 8th grade in Germany was the best 2.5 years of his life. So.
Oh, that's adorable. It was actually half of 8th grade. Thank you very much. I got to tell you, it certainly was a culture shock. I mean, I went from doing
2.5 years to just get through half of 8th grade. Is that what you're saying?
Scar, I got to tell you, like when I first got there, it was wild. Quick side story, very, very quick. You know, we're doing whatever, algebra, getting ready to take the co-ops and the entrance exams to get into the high schools in New York City. And then all of a sudden, my dad took a promotion. We moved off to Germany. Now, all of a sudden, kids are using scientific calculators, and we're talking about Pythagoras. I'm like, what in the hell is that? I didn't realize there was Greek mythology in mathematics. That's how far back I was, but I had to catch up. Anyways, 59th minute, Galaxy equalized, and it comes off of a play where Fagundes boots it in the air right in the box, and it happens to clip Tyler Boyd's head, and he was my player to watch. Douglas Costa was yours. He had a hamstring issue, and a lot of that didn't get cleared up until after the game. He was still in the 18 FYI scarf.
Right.
And then off of Tyler Boyd's head, it just happened to get right in front of Yoshida, who had a header that Maxim Crepeau, there was no way he was getting to it. So that would have been the second shot on target for the Galaxy and the second goal. And now we're tied, and of course, it had to be Yoshida. And of course, the Galaxy had to tie the game because not once, not since the COVID Cup, can we just simply have a match in which we just score 6 on them and just put them out of their misery early. I just want one game actually, I'd like multiple games like that, but these games just get too hectic and too stressful. And that was another instance of the stress of this rivalry.
Look, spoiler alert, 6 goals were scored in this match, but yeah, this was tough. I thought Max got a little indecisive. If you watch him, he comes out real quick and then has to kind of backpedal. It wasn't his best effort, but I don't think he could have been anywhere to save the ball, although he wasn't planted very squarely on that play. I felt bad for Max. I didn't think it was a good look for him, but I don't think either goal could have been prevented by Maxim Crepeau. But again, here we are, Philly, sitting at the 25-minute mark, nothing to show for our goal. Sitting at the hour mark, nothing to show for our goal. But at least in the 65th minute, Philly, we got to boo Raheem Edwards coming off the pitch for Julian Aude. Of course, on Aude's first touch of the match.
Rocked.
I mean, I went back and watched. I mean, Ryan Hollingshead got him pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a pretty clear yellow for Ryan Hollingshead. Although, we booed him at the time. That was definitely a rough foul. And then just 2 minutes later, Ryan Hollingshead cleans out. Was that Aude again? I'm
not sure if it was Aude again, but regardless, he was awarded that yellow card.
I mean, between Cheeky Palacios and Ryan Hollingshead, I got some serious agita, as my grandmother Mima used to say.
Ilya Sanchez.
Yeah, I mean, but with Ilya, he played well for the entire rest of the match. He really played within himself, but Ryan's throwing his body all over the place. Cheeky's throwing his body all over the place, and all I kept saying is, "Don't go down a man. Don't go down a man. Don't go down a man." We've got some giggity subs in the 69th minute. Stipe Buke and Timothy Tillman coming on for Kike Oliveira and Mati Bogusz. I want to say that I turned to Gaston and Lalo, and I was like, we just lost all our wiggle, all our speed out there on the pitch by taking off Mati Bogusz and Kike Oliveira at the same time. I was so nervous. Look, Philly, you and I can agree on something. Timothy Tillman has not played his best football as of late. It has been rough. We are also waiting for the emergence in the limited minutes that we allow of Stipe Buke. So you get those two things kind of converging all at once here in the 69th minute. I was really worried, Philly, that a guy like Ricky Pooch was going to be able to carve up Timothy Tillman, who doesn't seem to have been as fleet of foot lately. But man, I was pleasantly surprised and super wrong about my thoughts on Stipe and Tillman coming in.
Sure. You want to talk about a little more anxiety? 71st minute, you got Joveljic and Barrios coming into the game, and we've had our problems with these guys. Dejan Joveljic has scored against us plenty of times. Michael Barrios is a member of the Colorado Rapids, definitely doing things against us. And out comes Billy Sharp, who has got his second goal in just as many games. And then their leading scorer, Tyler Boyd, who leaves the game with 6 during the regular season. When those two players came out, for the other two, I thought, shoot, they're going to wake up a little, and Joveljic is going to, do his thing. But fast forward 3 minutes later, a careless turnover by the Galaxy. Ryan Hollingshead boots it downfield, and it happens to fall along the path of Chris Mavinga. And big shout out to Chris Mavinga. Thank you very much for auditioning for your part in this entire LAFC thing, because Chris Mavinga gave Denny Bouanga an opportunity to score a buzzinga. Shout out to all my Big Bang Theory fans out there.
What you did there.
Yep. That led Denny to a one-on-one with Jonathan Bond. And Denny, you give him open. You give him open that way. You give him that kind of space. More often than not, he is going to punish you. A very careless mistake by Mavinga, and Denny Bouanga gets his second goal of the game and his 14th of the regular season. And this was beautiful, because Scarf called the goals, that Denny would score 2, and I called the score. I said it was going to be 3-2. So we were both right at this point, and man, were we happy. I purposely yelled some profane things about the team that we were playing, because there was a member of the Cosmonauts that was in front of you. Granted, he was a younger, dorky-looking kid that wasn't a threat, but I made sure to let him know how I felt about his team once we scored that goal.
You know what I didn't realize, Philly? I want to apologize for not picking up on this. I think Chris Mavinga was just confused. Chris Mavinga, born in France, Denis Bouanga, born in France. I think that Mavinga was just passing it to the guy that he felt most comfortable passing the ball to. These are guys that likely crossed paths in some sort of leagues, or maybe even some camps over there in France, although, Mavinga not playing for the Gabonese national team for any reason. But, I didn't realize this. I forgot. I apologize. Maybe it was just Mavinga being comfortable. I do believe Mavinga, by the way, was on the Toronto club that won the treble, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I think it was that 28-18 club that won the treble. Either way,
2017 Scarf.
2017, so he was not. I think he joined them in 2018. I apologize. I'm wrong. We're moving on. But Chris
My
Mavinga,
comment to you is we.
With a beautiful goal. And I loved it. Denis was going to try to circle Jonathan Bond, but he made that one step, and Bond was already in such a bad position. He just fired it in there for the goal, and we went absolutely nuts. Here we are now with the lead, and we've got 15 minutes to hold it. And so what happens? We take Carlos Vela and Ryan Hollingshead off. I mean, I understood taking off Ryan. He's on a yellow card. You get Sergei Palencia in there. I also do understand taking Carlos Vela off. We're about to talk to you about 7 matches in 22 days, of which this is the first one. So maybe they thought, all right, we'll do a little bus parking. We'll bring in Mario Gonzalez, who maybe we'll try and figure something out, light a little fire under him, and at least the gravity of the moment being subbed in the 77th minute isn't as heavy as if maybe he would have started and would have felt the need to press and do something to impress everybody there, both in the North End and the 22,000 screaming black and gold faithful. But that being said, subs worked out pretty well, I think, Philly, in the 84th minute.
I would agree. And it all starts with a defensive play by Chiellini. And by the way, there's a bit of controversy on what happened here. We were given a press release during the press conference, which I'm going to read to you momentarily, but I'll get back to that in a second. So Chiellini makes a great defensive play. Ball gets over to Mario Gonzalez, and El Pistolero's off to the races. To the right of him, he's got Timothy Tillman. To the left of him, he's got Denis Bouanga, who's hungry for that Addy, and he opted to go to his right. So he fed Timothy Tillman, and Timothy Tillman absolutely blasted one past Jonathan Bond for the 4th goal of the game for LAFC. And we were talking about Timothy Tillman not playing well since he came back from surgery. This has to be a big, big-ass confidence booster for him because he hit that goal with authority, smashed that ball, and felt really good to go up on our rivals and double up the lead. But either way, despite the fact that we were in the 80s, I'm still nervous. I still don't believe this game's over. Not until Penso blows that whistle did I feel like we were going to, that we weren't in danger. But anyway, hell of a play. Great defense by Chiellini. And I don't know, do you want to read the press release or should I? Because this was wild. I completely missed that play. Going back and watching the highlights, I see what people talked about, but never in the several years that we've been going to press conferences downstairs near the field club at BMO Stadium were we ever given a press release during a press conference.
Yeah, and kudos to LAFC's PR department for being able to take that, transcribe it, get it copied, get it out to everybody in the press conference there. But Philly, I read it to you. We read it together, but I actually don't have it in front of me. So go right ahead, sir, and you go ahead and read.
All right, question 1. So this is referee pool reporter questions with Chris Penso. Question 1. What occurred just before the 4th LAFC goal? Penso responds, a foul was committed by LAFC against number 4, which was Yoshida. Okay, now we go to question number 2. Did you give advantage to the Galaxy when Yoshida went down? Penso responds, advantage was played. Okay. Question 3. If so, when there was an immediate turnover, plus LAFC was able to counter with Yoshida on the ground, why did you not bring the play back? Penso responds, after multiple touches and a pass, LAFC fairly won the ball from the LA Galaxy. I did not deem this to be immediate. There you have it. For all the Carson supporters out there that wanted to wonder that, Chris Penso answered it for you. Again, I found it fascinating that we got one of these during the press conference. It would be really interesting if we had the ability to sit and just question the authorities out there, make them respond on some of their more questionable calls. I feel like that transparency would be a lot of fun for all of us involved.
Look, for as bad as Chris Penso was in this match towards LAFC, clearly, I don't think anything Chris Penso did affected the scoreline for us. But you have Carson fans who feel like they have a legitimate gripe to Chris Penso not blowing the whistle, not stopping play, and affecting the scoreline directly. So, look, it is what it is. Penso is pretty terrible. But that being said, Penso did give out a yellow to Kellen right there at the end. It's really one little moment of trepidation at the start of stoppage time, Philly, as Maxim got caught out on a ball he missed. It didn't seem, I'll say this, I love you, Max, if you're listening to this, Maxim. It didn't seem like Maxim's vertical has gotten any better since before the injury. He wasn't exactly a springboard back there. He seemed like he was moving around great. He seems like he was distributing well. But his vertical leap is a lot closer to mine than it should be. I can tell you that. It is not a good
Show us that 2-inch vertical, brother.
Hey, listen, I can get over a stack of credit cards with the best of them. No problem. But that being said, really, Philly, that was the only moment of trepidation. I didn't even have many notes at all in stoppage time, except I was expecting far more paper airplanes at the end of the match than what we actually saw. And Philly, it feels so good to double up Carson. Look, quick thought here from Scarf. We gave up the lead 1-0. We gave up the lead 2-1, and a lot of years against a lot of different Carson teams, we fold. We either find a way to give up a late goal and lose 3-2 or somehow come away with a point and feel okay about things. No. This match, what I loved was our resilience, was our effort, was our energy. Steve said it was pretty obvious to anybody watching the match that LAFC was the better team. Well, I want to be honest. It's been pretty obvious in a lot of these matches recently. I think you mentioned it. We might have lost 11 or 12 of our last 21. It's been pretty obvious that we were the better team in a lot of this, but being the better team and putting balls into the back of the net, or being the better team and not giving up soft goals, that's kind of been LAFC's struggle on the year. We were the better team, but gave up 2 softies. But what we also were able to do for the first time in a long time is put not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 into the back of the net, leaving no doubt. Incredible win. And again, I firmly believe, Philly, this is the springboard for good things moving forward.
I certainly hope so, because we've got a gauntlet of games on the road and then a Campeones Cup to come back to. So very important stretch of the season. Look, with that win against the Galaxy, we now go 6-5 against them in MLS play. We've narrowed that gap. They can no longer say they're our daddies, because that's just plain dumb and ignorant. I like to refer to this team as the Uncle Ricos of Major League Soccer. And what I mean by that, Uncle Rico was a character in this movie called Napoleon Dynamite from, I guess at this point, couple decades ago. Uncle Rico lived in this fantasy world about being able to go back in time and take states and have a better life right now. Well, point is, he was living in the past, and he spent a lot of his time in the past, which is exactly where the Galaxy spend most of their times. And it's not just the organization, it's the fan base as well. Hell, even this evening, some dumb troll DM defenders reminding us that, hey, we've got five MLS Cup titles. You've only got 1. Yeah, all right. No poop, Sherlock. You've also been around since 96, and we've been around since whenever. And then they bring out the argument, well, you guys are Chivas. And that's another dumb thing. We need to have a pod one day and just dissect that, because the concept and the fact that these morons still believe that we are directly tied to Chivas USA blows my mind. I can talk to you about what attorneys were involved with that, the fact that we didn't even take so much as a stapler from you idiots. But you still want to call us Chivas USA, whatever, regardless of the point. Not all is lost, though, Scarf, for the Carsonites, for the Cosmonauts, because as a result of this game at LAFC, they can have Chick-fil-A tomorrow. And also, when there's 3 goals scored by LAFC, they can get a free scoop of ice cream. So not all is lost, Cosmonauts. You at least got to be thankful for that, right? Suckers.
Listen, I think they also get a drink at like the Extra Mile stores too, by the way. This is quite a big one. Look, God, everything is so weird on my computer right now. Philly had to wait for me for a couple of different things because my computer was just being a wackadoodle right now, and it is not getting any better as I try to pull up some notes. But that's neither here nor there. Our next match, Philly, is in, well, today is now Sunday. It's
been Sunday the entire time we've been recording a pod, Scarf.
Yeah, 2:11 a.m. Sunday. Our next match is on Wednesday. We will head to St. Louis. We are 6 points back of St. Louis with 1 game in hand. What I like about that is if we win, then theoretically we control our destiny with St. Louis, but we don't control our destiny in the West. Believe it or not, if we win that match, that then puts the West in the hands of the Vancouver Whitecaps. Based on number of games played and points possible, who would have thought that we would have had to look at the club that we absolutely dismantled in the Champions League run up to the final? But hey, look, let's put the ball in their court then, which means that we did what we needed to do to put the ball out of St. Louis's court. That's a lot of different basketball metaphors for a soccer podcast. But either way, 6 matches to go, Philly, in the regular season. Wednesday, September 20th at First Place, St. Louis. This, Philly, begins 7 matches in 22 days. This Carson match, 7 matches in 22 days. And none of them are a gimme. Not a single one. Carson, we did well. St. Louis, not a gimme, playing at Philadelphia. We know they are going to bring it. They hate us because they ain't us. They lost the MLS Cup to us. So you know they're coming. And to me, the biggest matchup in all of this is the matchup against Tigres, because the narrative of this season, Philly, the narrative cannot be that we played for 3 trophies and we played 3 different Liga MX teams, all 3 of which who are legitimately good. León, Monterrey, and now Tigres. The narrative cannot be that we lost all 3 opportunities for trophies. Can't happen.
I don't disagree. And we have a score to settle with Tigres, having lost to them back in 2019. So there's nothing more I would love to do than to smack the smile off of Giniac's face when we crush them. And that's not going to be an easy game. I'm getting ahead of myself. But yes, we have to win. We absolutely have to win. But let's worry about that later. Let's revel in the fact that we beat the Galaxy, and anytime we score first, the opportunity for us to win a game increases exponentially. We're 11-0-2 during the course of the regular season when we score first. And here's a fun fact that we pulled courtesy of LAFC PR. LAFC is 28-1-2 in the Steve Cherundolo era when scoring first during the regular season. 28-1-2. That blows my mind. So we are an effective team when we score first. So when we talk about keys to the game going forward, score first. That should always be there. Because obviously we do quite well when that happens.
Look, we play our last game in this gauntlet October 7th at Q2 Stadium in Austin. And then we don't play again, Philly, until decision day, October 22nd. Vancouver. If Vancouver does their job, Philly, and LAFC does their job, that match could decide the West. Vancouver could decide the West. Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. Vancouver could be deciding the West. I don't know. We got to take the rest where we can get it, although I don't see a spot where there is any. We got to take the points where they can get it, and they will not be easy to come about. But what you're going to start to see, this is Scarfstradamus talking to you here, is that this is what gets the gears turning forward for LAFC. We're going to see Super Mario start to feel like he can contribute. And maybe, Philly, maybe it wasn't the goals that he needed, but the ability to feel like he can be part of the buildup rather than the end product, because that pass from him was a perfect pinpoint pass to Timothy Tillman for that goal. And he was part of the buildup, not the end sequence. And I loved that for Mario Gonzalez. It's still not what a damn number 9 is supposed to do. But you know what? We got the goal into the back of the net. Philly, I've got lots and lots and lots and lots more optimism, my friend, than I did at the start of the day, and a surprising amount of energy for 2:16 in the morning.
Yeah, no kidding. And a big shout out to Mario Gonzalez for getting the first assist of his Major League Soccer career. That was awesome. Welcome back, Timothy Tillman. It's his first goal since March. Big shout out Denny Bouanga. It's his second multi-goal game against the Galaxy. Last time he did it was in the playoffs. So kudos to him. And Carlos Vela, he talked about his assists. He assisted on each of LAFC's first 2 goals, giving him 10 in the league this season. And it's the 4th time in his 6 seasons that he has done this, reached the double-figure mark in assists. And according to our notes here, he is the 4th active MLS player with 4 or more seasons of 10-plus assists, joining the likes of Seattle's Nico Lodeiro, FC Cincinnati's Luciano Acosta, and former MLS MVP, New England's Carlos Gil. So good on Carlos. Everybody wants to say he's done, he's finished, he's washed up. No, he just contributes offensively in different ways. There were some moments where his passing wasn't as crisp, where he turned the ball over blatantly. But look, we're a much better team when Carlos Vela contributes. It's obvious. Multiple assists and another multiple assist season. Way to go, LRA.
Yeah, look, Carlos, we just need to start figuring out where the statue is going to go at BMO Stadium. That's the bottom line. Wherever the statue is going to go, let's get it down. Philly, I don't have much more. I don't know how you feel right now. You done?
Yeah.
I got one thing that I want to mention, and our buddy Slippy was actually the one who needed to remind us all of this today. Please remember, out there, black and gold, hell, this can even be directed to you, Carson fans. Please remember that you are never alone. No matter how life may make it seem, no matter what is going on with you and the others around you, this world is better with you in it. We want to reach out and give our condolences to the family of Edgar, a member of the Black and Gold who is unfortunately no longer with us, and by very unfortunate circumstances. So we just want to remind all of you out there, if you're feeling something like the world is closing in on you or everything is just going to become too much, whatever it might be, and you feel like you may make some decisions that'll be pretty long lasting, please remember that this world is better with you in it, and reach out to someone, anyone. And if that needs to be Philly and Scarf, Defenders of the Bank, reach out to us. If it needs to be a family member, a friend, someone you haven't talked to in a while, or someone you talk to every day, please reach out to them. But whatever you do, please don't stay silent. You don't need to fight and battle with whatever it is you are feeling alone. The world is better with you in it. So reach out and say something. Rest in peace, Edgar.
Just want to remind you all that, everything Scarf said, take that in the heart and take that into account. But I'd like to end this pod on a slightly more happier, jovial way.
Sure.
We beat Carson 4-2 at home, knocking them off their high horse, knocking them off their perch, and reminding them that there is one team in Los Angeles. All right? That's your reminder. You are the past. We are the present and the future. And we're just getting started, baby. Enjoy this. Feel the buzz of this victory, because come Wednesday, we go at it again. Love y'all, Defenders. And thank you for listening to episode 275.
And you know how we like to end each and every one of our episodes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.